Hel- Hello there, everyone. Dr. Tharp here. Just giving a few people some time to trickle in. Let me get all my lives going here. So, welcome. For those of you who don't know who I am Dr. Tharp. I am an internal medicine physician. And as I say every night when I come to these lives, that I am on a mission, and that mission is to help those who are struggling with type 2 diabetes regain control of their health, to feel in power again, and to know that type 2 diabetes is, in fact, reversible. But you just have to have the right strategy. And I understand that there's so many people out there who are trying all the wrong things, trying so many different things to get the blood sugars controlled. And the reality is those are the wrong things and you're wasting time. So that is why I want to come here tonight to, help you understand what are the right strategies that you can use to successfully reverse type 2 diabetes. Why is this so important to me? And why aren't there more doctors doing this? Well, first of all, if you don't know my background, I started out my career in medicine as a hospital doctor. As a hospital doctor, I see end stage diabetes. I see it day in, day out. Multiple people who I take care of every day are suffering the end stages of diabetes, whether they're on dialysis, whether they're having serious infections as a result of diabetes. Those infections typically are in the feet, the toes, leading to amputations, whether they're having strokes, whether they're having heart attacks. So I take care of those people who are experiencing end stage type 2 diabetes. And I see that these people do not have to be here. It's completely reversible. So that is why I come on every night to help those people who are struggling, who are afraid of having these complications. Know that you do not have to give in to that future. You do not have to bow to that future, that there are steps that you can take. And I know that there's many of you here tonight watching this who have tried several things. You have tried the teas, you have tried the intermittent fasting, you have tried even the medications. And some of you here are on 2 and 3, 4 medications. Some of you are now going on to insulin if you're not on insulin already. And that is because you didn't have the right strategy. Why do I think this is important? Because once you start to have the complications from diabetes, it's typically not reversible. So if you're experiencing nerve damage, you're experiencing nerve pain, it's very uncomfortable. For those of you who are experiencing that, I completely understand, what you're going through. I see it every day as the hospital doctor. I see where, people are having trouble sleeping because of this pain in their hands and their feet. They're having trouble feeling the ground, having trouble walking. They're falling a lot because they can't feel the ground that they're walking on. So, type 2 diabetes, the damage it causes, neuropathy, is extremely common. And the longer you have type 2 diabetes, the more likely you are to eventually suffer from neuropathy. And if you have family members who have suffered from it, you understand quite clearly what I'm talking about. The other things that are irreversible the when you develop the kidney disease, so chronic kidney disease. So if your doctor has been telling you that your kidney function is abnormal, if your doctor has been telling you, oh, let's keep an eye on the kidneys, then that is where your red flag should be going up as well. It means you are already suffering the damage from type 2 diabetes. It means that you are already in that danger zone. And once you start to develop chronic kidney disease, that eventually leads to dialysis. And so that is why it's important to tackle that early, tackle type 2 diabetes early when you know you can turn things around. Another question I get is it irreversible? Is it reversible at any stage? And it is. It is reversible at any stage. But of course, the longer and the more advanced it gets, then it does take much longer to reverse it. And unfortunately, once you've developed the complications like neuropathy, like nerve damage, once you've developed that neuropathy, then it's unlikely we can reverse those complications. So it's really, really important for me as a hospital doctor who sees end stage diabetes on a daily basis to spread the word that it is preventable, that you can take action. And so, because I'm here every night spreading the word, I would love for you to spread the word. Let people know I am here and I'm spreading the word. Share this live, like this live, so that again, the word will be out there that you can reverse type 2 diabetes naturally. And this is coming from an internal medicine doctor. So, no, I am not the doctor that's telling you just stay on the meds and don't worry about anything else. Don't worry, the meds will fix it. Hi, Joshua. Don't be, I'm not that doctor. I am the doctor that's telling you that you can reverse this naturally. You can do it naturally. So, um, so again, the complications of type 2 diabetes, they're devastating. That's why I do this. And if you have any questions while you're here, if you are having any struggles while you're here, go ahead and put that comment up. Ask your questions. That is why I'm here. I am open to questions and I want to make sure you have all the right information to truly fight back against type 2 diabetes. So please put your questions in the comments, like and share so that people out there will know that type 2 diabetes is completely reversible. All you have to do is know what the right steps are. So, now, what are the right steps? How do we successfully reverse type 2 diabetes? Well, the number one step that we have to keep in mind is what are the mistakes you're making that is delaying your ability to overcome type 2 diabetes? What are the mistakes, the things, the strategies that you think are effective that really aren't? And I will tell you this, the issues that I see many times are the people who are relying overly reliant on supplements. Supplements have a role, they play a role, they're important, but supplements alone will not fix your issue. So I completely understand that, when you were first diagnosed by your doctor, and thanks, Melissa. I know when you were first diagnosed by your doctor, okay, that you walked out to that office. First, you're looking for some information from your doctor, right? You were looking for them to say, okay, this is what you should eat. You asked, well, what should I eat? What should I do to get my blood sugars down? And you maybe got a piece of paper. You maybe got, well, eat less, move more. You might have gotten eat a Mediterranean diet, just very vague information that really did not give you any guidance. So your next step was to go home and to Google, right? To Google what are the supplements that can fix the issue. So now you're thinking berberine supplements, you're thinking cinnamon teas, you are thinking about apple cider vinegar as ways to reverse your type 2 diabetes. However, what I will tell you is those things play a role, there's no doubt, but they're not going to fix your type 2 diabetes by itself. It's really, really critical that you take the time to understand that the number one fix here is to actually look at your nutrition. To look at your nutrition. Nutrition is the number one way to go. But again, the strategy is where we mess up a lot. Okay. So the mistake we make is we're over reliant on supplements. And I will tell you, supplements alone will not fix the issue. The second issue is that I see a lot of people, they ask me about intermittent fasting. Does intermittent fasting fix my type 2 diabetes? I say, yes, there's a place for intermittent fasting, but again, the strategy, right? The problem with intermittent fasting is that many of you are doing intermittent fasting on your own without understanding what that strategy really is. And what's happening is that you are now fasting for 18 hours a day, 16 to 18 hours a day, you're not feeding your body. What's going to happen there? You are going to feel low energy. You're going to see your blood sugars probably spike up a little bit more. Why? Because now your body's stressed. You're not eating. So it's really important to understand fasting does play a role, but you have to know the right strategy of fasting as well. It can be done the wrong way. So intermittent fasting has a place, but you have to understand how to do it properly so that you are actually feeding your body in addition. The third problem that I see is that a lot of the women struggling with type 2 diabetes are not eating. They're very busy women. They are, constantly on the go. You're not eating breakfast, you're skipping lunch, and you're only eating one meal a day, maybe by 2 or 3 in the evening. And so that is where a huge part of the problem comes in. Many of you are struggling with cravings as well. You're eating that one meal a day, then the cravings kick in, then you're gaining weight on top of it, and that vicious cycle continues. Then your blood sugars are spiking through the roof. So it's a vicious cycle because, again, the strategy is not ideal. Reversing type 2 diabetes is really about a system. Nutrition, number one, is where it starts, but you have to approach nutrition in a very strategic manner. Now, that is the last mistake that I see a lot is that people say, I'm eating healthy. But what's healthy for the average person is not necessarily healthy for everyone. So when we tune in to all of these health influencers here and we see them preparing all of these really interesting meals and they're healthy meals, the real question you should be asking as someone with type 2 diabetes is this healthy for my blood sugar? Remember, not everything that is healthy or that what's healthy for everyone is not necessarily healthy for you. So for example, oatmeal is a big example. Oatmeal I see being eaten so often, and when the blood sugar spikes up, I see that people are baffled. Why is my blood sugar spiking if I'm eating um thank you, David. Why is the blood sugar spiking and I'm eating healthy? The problem is you might be eating healthy, but you're not eating to support your blood sugars, to support your metabolism. So it's really, really important that you understand the right strategy, right? And I always argue that the natural approach to reversing type 2 diabetes has to be done with as much care and attention as a prescription, right? Doctors write prescriptions to help reverse or to help control the blood sugars, but the natural approach has to be done in the same way, where you are being monitored closely, you are being seen frequently, you are being taught the right strategies in order to avoid medications and to get your blood sugars down. So, reversing type 2 diabetes is about number one, recognizing what the wrong strategies are. So, if you're someone who has been, frustrated by all the things that I just mentioned, if you've tried it all and you've lost hope, then just know that you have probably just been trying the wrong things. Now it's time to talk about what the right strategy is. And the right strategy is a system based strategy, right? You're never going to truly reverse type 2 diabetes if you're not focusing on multiple different areas at the same time. And you can do that without feeling overwhelmed as well. It's totally possible to do it without feeling overwhelmed. But it's really important to understand that reversing type 2 diabetes is a systems based approach. So, what do I mean by that? Well, you have to look at number one, nutrition, your movement, your mindset. You have to look at your habit, your daily habits. So all of these things are important. When it comes down to nutrition, you really have to understand what the science behind nutrition is, and you have to understand what your ultimate goal is. So, for example, with nutrition, a lot of people out there, again, you're eating things that are generally considered healthy, but not good for your blood sugar. And that's because you don't truly understand where high blood sugars are coming from. High blood sugars doesn't just mean that you're eating sugar. So, something I get, and actually a majority of the women who I work with, when they start with me, they've done all the right things already. They have cut out the juice, they have cut out sugar, they don't add sugar to anything. So they've done all the right things already. And so that is why they're so frustrated when the blood sugars are still high. A majority of the women I work with have already done that. But high blood sugars goes beyond just sugar. It goes beyond just drinking sweet things, right? It goes beyond just that. So, reversing type 2 diabetes is really about understanding where is those high blood sugars coming from, and it's coming from carbohydrates in your diet. Now, another misconception that I get is, do I need to completely cut out carbohydrates? Absolutely not. Again, strategy is everything. You have to understand what carbohydrates are the quality carbohydrates. So that is where you're going to get the bang for your buck. And that is where you're going to see improvement with your blood sugars. So, carbohydrates, again, those break down into sugar. We're talking about two different types of carbohydrates. We're talking about simple carbohydrates, which are the ones that the minute they hit your mouth, it's becoming sugar. And we're talking about complex carbohydrates, the ones that break down very, very slowly. And as it breaks down, it just gives you a very slow rise in your blood sugar. The simple carbohydrates are the ones that give you the high spikes in your blood sugar and ramp up your insulin level and then put you into this tailspin where now you're in fat storing mode because your insulin is high, your blood sugar is high, you're feeling horrible, you're feeling fatigued, you're peeing a lot, you're thirsty, you're hungry, you're having cravings. That is the effect that those high blood sugars have on you. So, the goal as a type 2 diabetic is to aim to have your blood sugar running on the kind of an even pace, no spikes. That's what we want to avoid. And to say that we've truly reversed type 2 diabetes, we want that to be our bodies all the time, 24/7, right? We're not just managing blood sugars here, we're aiming to reverse it. So, carbohydrates are really important to understand, and the type of carbohydrate that you're consuming is important. Now, when I say simple carbohydrates, what am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about the carbohydrates that don't serve your body in any way. So, for example, ask yourself, when you eat a piece of white bread, what is it doing for your body? And you can go ahead and put it in the chat. If you think that, if you think that eating, if you think eating a piece of carbohydrate is really going to benefit your body. Let me just fix this phone here. It's falling. So if you feel that that carbohydrates like white bread is going to benefit your body, okay? Tell me what the benefit is, okay? Is it giving you a vitamin? Is it giving you a mineral? Is it giving you an antioxidant? What is it doing for your body exactly? And if you want, you can put it in the chat, but I'll answer that question for you now. It's not doing anything for your body. All it is doing is spiking your blood sugar. So it's empty calories. So white bread, white rice, if you have type 2 diabetes, those are empty calories, and you absolutely want to avoid those by all means. Okay. So, reversing type 2 diabetes means eliminating simple carbohydrates that really don't benefit your body. Other forms of simple carbohydrates include we talked about white rice, white bread, super processed foods. Okay, those things that, those baked goods, those bagels, those croissants, those are not benefiting your body. So now you're probably asking, well, what carbohydrates should I be eating? And the complex carbohydrates are the ones that slowly break down, don't give you a rapid rise in your blood sugars, and again achieve that goal of keeping your blood sugars blunted. So for me, my personal favorite complex carbohydrate is sweet potato or boniato. That is my favorite complex carbohydrate. So I have replaced that as my side in a lot of my meals. In my breakfast with my eggs, I put it as a side. For dinner, next to my kale salad, I put it as a side. So for me, my personal favorite is sweet potato. Now, do you have to cut bread out completely? It's preferable, but I would say that if you're going to have bread, then Ezekiel bread is a good option. It's sprouted, it is sprouted grains that it's high in protein and high in fiber. So if anything, that is going to benefit you. So if you want to eliminate white bread, but you need a transition, then that is where your Ezekiel bread will really be important to help you achieve that transition. Now, when I say complex carbohydrate, we really should be thinking about carbohydrates that are high in fiber. So a question that I always get is whole wheat bread a good carbohydrate? And my answer to that is no. Whole wheat bread it's all about the marketing. The marketing tells us it's a healthier option, but the reality is not. So you want to go with a bread like Ezekiel bread that has high fiber and high protein in it. So that pretty much covers the carbohydrates. Again, you have to approach carbohydrates strategically, avoid simple carbohydrates that just spike your blood sugar, and go for the complex carbohydrates. Complex carbohydrates are the ones that are going to give your body vitamins, minerals, antioxidants. The perfect example of that is sweet potato. Now, the other thing that a lot of you are missing are proteins. Protein, 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 really important. It's important to have a protein with every meal. And as I said earlier, you should be feeding your body. So if you're somebody who's skipping breakfast or intermittent fasting and then you are not getting enough protein. I can tell you that with certainty. If you're not getting enough protein in your diet, then it means you're spiking your blood sugar. Okay, so getting enough protein in your diet is critical. I suggest that you do eat regularly breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Save fasting for the nighttime when your body is sleeping, regenerating, healing. That is when you should be fasting. Do not fast during the day. During the day, we are focused on getting nutrition into your body. Okay. So protein, 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 there should be a protein in every meal. So we talked about complex carbohydrates. We talked about getting enough protein in your diet. Those are really, really critical parts. Fiber is also critical. Okay, fiber again is going to blunt those blood sugar spikes and really help you to achieve your goal. So you definitely want to get enough fiber in your diet. Okay, fiber is critical. Where are you getting your fiber? You're getting your fiber in your complex carbohydrates. You're getting your fiber in your oatmeal, right? If you're gonna have oatmeal, it has to be quality oatmeal. So that one, it can't be the instant oats where you're not getting any fiber in there. It has to be your steel cut oats. And again, you have to eat that in moderation with the right strategy. So fiber is critical. You're getting fiber throughout the day, throughout all of your meals. You're ensuring that everything you have in there, everything you have on your plate has fiber. So that is critical, and that a lot of people are missing protein, a lot of people are missing fiber. And the lastly is your fats. Many people think they have to cut fats out of their diet. There's a lot of pressure. Okay, when you leave your doctor's office, you got that diagnosis of type 2 diabetes. Now you're thinking, oh, I have to lose weight. You're super focused on losing weight. And as a result, now you're on a crash diet. Now you're eating fat free everything. The problem with eating fat free everything is all those fat free foods out there that you're reaching for is just spiking your blood sugar. Don't fear the fats. The fats also work to blunt your blood sugars. Now, when I say don't fear fat, I'm talking about good fats. You want to be focused on getting good fat into your diet. Why are good fats also important? Good fats are also important because that is what makes up our cells. Fats make up our cells, the walls of our cells. Fats make up our hormones. Fats give us energy. So, fat is really, really important. And when we start to go low fat in an effort to reverse type 2 diabetes or to control our blood sugars, we can actually end up with a low energy. We feel off. We feel horrible. We feel sluggish, and that's because you're not feeding your body with the good fats you need. So, what are the good fats? The good fats are your olive oil, your olives, your avocado oil, your seeds, and your nuts. Those are all your good fats. That's where you're going to get your good fats. So it's really, really important to get fat on your plate. Now, just so you have an idea of what your plate should look like, a quarter of your plate should be the protein, a quarter of your plate should be a complex carbohydrate, half of your plate should be a vegetable, whether it's a low carb vegetable or a higher carb vegetable. And throughout all of that, all of those, your veggies and your complex carbohydrate, very likely you're going to be having your fiber in that and you're going to be having your good fats in that. So with that, that is gonna close off for tonight. I hope that I have inspired some people to take steps to reverse their type 2 diabetes. Remember, type 2 diabetes is a progressive disease. It is slowly killing your body. If you do nothing about it, you are going to have consequences, whether it's 1 year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, but you are going to have dire consequences if you don't fix your blood sugars. So, if you are serious about reversing type 2 diabetes, if you do want to give yourself that bright future, you want to spare yourself complications, spare yourself the kidney disease, the nerve damage, the vision loss, you want to give yourself the best chance for a good quality of life into retirement and beyond, then that is why I'm here. So click the link in my bio. When you click the link in my bio, that will take you, it should be a Linktree link. In that Linktree link, go ahead, book a free discovery call, find out more about what we do here and how we help people successfully reverse type 2 diabetes. So with that, I'm going to close off for tonight. I'm always open to questions. So if anyone here has any questions, please feel free to ask. And I can definitely, and let me just check the other lives to make sure no questions. So if there are no other questions, then, please feel free um, to again drop to share this live, like this live, so that the word we can spread the word that type 2 diabetes is reversible, that you don't have to give in to the serious complications of type 2 diabetes, that you can overcome it naturally. You don't have to be on a lot of medications to do that. And just know that medications really don't, they're a band-aid, right? They slow the process, but that process continues. And that's how many people end up on 2 and 3 medications. So if you're really serious about reversing type 2 diabetes, click the link in the bio, book the free discovery call, and find out how we actually help people achieve reversing type 2 diabetes, feel empowered, and how we make their lives so much better. All right. With that, I'm going to close off, guys. Have a good night.